Yo, what's going on, guys? If you're watching this video, season 2 is probably already out or about to come out, and I want to give you guys some builds I came out with for the new season. Now, this time I managed to come up with 4 different builds. Some of them are pretty similar, but I really couldn't narrow it down any more than I would like to. So I want to go over these builds, and I think in maybe like a video the next week or something, I want to show you the rotations for each build. That way I can give you like an in-depth guide of how exactly to break down each build's rotation, at least for the burst. The consistent damage should be pretty straightforward, but I just want to go over like the talents and kind of like how the talents synergize well together, why I chose each specific talent, and go over some of like the PvP talent stuff. And also in a future video I want to do like more secrets and tricks and tips and stuff that you guys might find useful as well. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one I have here is just basically the same old build, just the Stormkeeper build. Now there are a couple things that I changed in here, like I got rid of Gust of Wind, I wanted Healing Stream Totem, and I dropped Nature Swiftness to get some more Swirling Current. So I'm kind of just going over for some more healing. And the reason I made this decision was because I saw that, you know, Healing Stream Totem, when I was testing, it was actually healing for like at least like 11k every like 1.7 seconds. That also has a chance to crit. And with some of these builds that I'm running, I'm honestly thinking about running maybe like a crit or a mastery build. And so that would give something like this more value as well. But another reason is because it's AoE healing, so it's not just about you. And a lot of these builds are just going to be mostly for like arena, so like solo shuffle, 3v3, maybe even some 2v2 stuff, but I don't really do a whole lot of 2v2, so mostly for like the 3v3 setting. So not much changed over here, but over here I just, you know, I have Power the Maelstrom still. I got Searing Flames. Trying to have one Power the Maelstrom is nice, especially with the new changes that they made. So they buffed Power the Maelstrom. Now, a little disclaimer, I don't think this is working properly. So they updated the tooltip, so it's up to 13-25% chance now, whereas before it was like 3 and 7 or something like that, 4 and 8, I don't know. So it's a much higher percentage than we had last time, but it still feels like it's not proccing as much as it says that it's supposed to. I had like 14 casts in a row and I only got 1 proc, and this was consistent. It wasn't just that one time, but that was like the worst time I saw it. So I'm a little nervous about taking this talent. I hope they fix it if it is broken, but I'm not too sure. So this whole build here hasn't really changed a lot. Now some PvP talent stuff that we might want to go over. Hold on, let me get out of here. Some PvP talent stuff that I want to go over. So like we got Burrow now. It's a brand new PvP talent. Basically, it's like a turtle, but it also increases your movement speed. And when you come out of turtle, or when you come out of Burrow, within 6 yards, enemies are knocked in the air and take 70,000 damage, basically. Now, you might not be thinking to yourself, oh, you know, 70k, that's not too much, but 1, it can crit, 2, it's AoE, 3, that is a lot of damage for something that is like literally a turtle ability, and it does damage. That's actually pretty insane. So, like if I hit this training dummy, you can see what it looks like here. I mean, you don't even have like a, you don't even have an icon or anything. So a little weird, but I mean, it's huge utility. This is massive, not only for defensively but offensively, and I'm going to get into more of that with the tips and tricks video. Now the second thing you're going to be wanting is season wins, and I hate that I even have to say this because I fucking hate playing this. There's nothing worse I'm going to hate during this arena season than having to play this fucking talent. It's very strong. It's actually overpowered. You got to think 45% damage reduction this can stack up to. It's just like unreal that you can get almost half the damage taken from a magic school completely. So against like warlocks and shadow priests, this is gonna be broken. Like there's no reason you should be able to die unless for some reason you can't get any kicks on them, like during that 6-second window. But it's just the play style is just so unfun. You have 6 seconds to get a wind shear in, so you're like managing this 6-second window, but it's very strong. So basically you have to take this as well. at least against casters. You know, if you're facing double melee, maybe you want like static field totem, or you know, you could even argue grounding totem for some things. But and I run Skyfury too, just for the extra crit damage. Now, that's another point of contention, is Blizzard reduced crit damage across the board by 25%, which hit us a little bit more hard, but Blizzard kind of compensated for that with some increase, I think, lava burst damage somewhere. And they also made it so the PvP trinket sets increase your stamina percentage now. And so there's a lot of like weird changes they made, so I'm not sure how overall it affects us, but basically we definitely want more crit damage if we can, just because of that huge nerf. Now you can see here the second build I'm running isn't changing very much either. It's the Icefury build, just again the normal Icefury build that we ran last patch. But we're running like focused insight here, refreshing waters, so we're running some more self-healing, flow of power, and then we just have the normal Icefury stuff. So again, not really much has changed. Still running again the same PvP talents, same tree over here, nothing really different. I do question about not taking Mana Spring. I really wanted to take this because of how healers running out of mana ends up being a lot of the reason why fights end, and the more mana you can give to your healer just passively is huge. So I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I want like enfeeblement or something, or if there's a point I can take somewhere else to put down here, or if I even need 2 swirling current points. I don't know, but maybe you guys can let me know what you think. Now, this is where things change a lot. You can see here, we're going down the left side of the tree again. And we also swapped out a point for Nature Swiftness, which is part of the rotation. You need this for the instant Elemental Blast. So you can see this build is essentially the same thing as the Elemental Blast build that we had last season. But the reason we're doing it this way this time isn't necessarily for the Elemental Blast burst, but for the Lightning Bolt burst. So with the new Volcanic Surge talent, you're increasing your Lightning Bolt damage, Chain Lightning, Lava Burst damage. And now your Lava Burst, or your Lava Surge, also reduces the cast time of your Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings, stacking up to 2 times. So you're going to be getting out some more Lightning Bolt damage. And there are 2 variants of each of the next 2 builds that I'm talking about. Well, like this build and the next build. You could run Lightning Rod for a higher single burst, or you could run a second Stormkeeper charge. I'm leaning more towards the Lightning Rod, just because the damage this build does is actually insane. I was able to hit a 273k Lightning Bolt with just that one hit. That didn't include my Elemental Blast damage, the Lightning Rod damage, any of the overloads or extra procs from the Stormkeeper. It didn't include the second Stormkeeper charge. It didn't include the Icefury shock with the Frost shock, any flame shock ticking damage. It didn't include my Fire Elemental's Meteor, which again I'm going to include that in the rotation build video, so you're definitely going to want to check that out for a build like this, because it's like 8 total globals, 10 total spells, and so it can be pretty complex, and it's very difficult to pull off very efficiently in arena, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But so like, just there's so many modifiers and there's so many strong abilities, but that 273k was just from one Lightning Bolt. So you factor in all that other damage I did, and it was easily over 1 million. So if you manage to get that on a person, they're 100% going to die. And so unless they have like shields up and damage mitigation and full health and all that versatility, they're just going to die. So the main point of this build is to try to make sure you have a kill window, like where they have no damage mitigation or like shields up or anything. So you need to make sure that if you're going to be doing this build, you can coordinate well with someone, hopefully. So it's going to be more of a 3v3 thing than a solo shuffle, but you could still definitely do this in a solo shuffle. You got to try to find your kill window a little bit better than in a 3v3 situation. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this for like battlegrounds or like a 2v2 setting where you don't have a healer, because trying to pull this off while you're being attacked and you don't have heals, so you have to self-heal, is very frustrating and very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to pull off. So I would only recommend this for mainly 3v3. You could do 2v2 if you have a good healer, but it's going to be a bit more obvious when you start trying to do your rotation, because again, it's like 8 full globals. Now, the last build I want to show you guys is the same thing, but instead of taking Icefury, now we're going to be taking Echo Chamber with Mountains Will Fall. The reason I like this is because it's kind of similar to the deeply rooted elements with like the Stormkeeper build, where you just have like this random chance of doing some insane burst damage, and that's what the Mountains Will Fall. You have like a, you know, whatever your mastery is, so 22% for me right now. I have a 22% chance of doing 50% more damage on my elemental blast. And so, you know, you hit 100k on your LE blast, well, now it's going to technically do 150k, you know. And so it adds a little bit more oomph to your overall burst. But it's very similar to the Icefury build damage. The only difference is you have less globals. So you have less globals to use with this variant of the build, but the problem is you lose on a little bit more like sustained damage and overall burst. This is more so for that first like LE Blast Stormkeeper proc burst, because that's where most of your damage is. So when you have most of your damage in that shorter window, you have a higher opportunity to kill, because chances are you might not even be able to get the full rotation off. So if you're finding that you struggle getting that full 8 global rotation out, this is a very strong variant of that, which does less overall burst, but it still has very strong kill window burst. So that's why I really wanted to make a 4th build, just because I feel like it was really important to give people another option in case they didn't really like that version. Now this will use, obviously, it doesn't use Icefury and it won't use Frost Shock anymore. So now you have 2 less globals you have to use. So now you're down to 6 total globals, which again is still quite a bit. And you still might not even like this build. So that's why I kept in the Stormkeeper and the Icefury build. I'm still going to heavily use those two, especially in Battlegrounds. You guys know I love doing Battlegrounds. So I'm going to be using like the Stormkeeper build a lot in Battlegrounds. I probably would not recommend Volcanic Surge at all in Battlegrounds. You're just gonna have a miserable fucking time trying to cast. But it's been funny because I already got to use Burrow to kill a couple people. I just Burrow, follow them, cancel aura, and just come out and just kill someone. So pretty funny. I feel like Elemental Shaman is gonna be in a very weird spot. Everyone's gonna have like all these different variant builds, and no one's gonna exactly know like what's the best build. But these are my 4 top ones that I feel like are gonna be like the strongest. There obviously might arise some different ones that will showcase some nice utility, but I think overall these are the 4 that you're gonna be seeing a lot. Now I did swap out, you might have seen, improved Flame Tongue weapon in the Volcanic Surges, because you don't really do a whole lot of Lava Burst casting. Your Lava Burst is really only for your Power of the Maelstrom proc and just like filler spells. So your Lava Burst does do a lot of damage, but you can also use it for juking a kick, because a lot of your damage is going to be coming from Lightning Bolts and your Stormkeeper Lightning Bolts and your LE Blast and basically everything but your Lava Burst. So you're still going to be doing a lot of damage with it, but it's primarily going to be used for something like this. And since it's only 5%, I swapped it for Primal Elementalist for the Meteor to give you more burst. So it's just a little bit, again, it's just a little bit more oomph on that kill window, because that's what this build is meant for. So you want to spec out of a very little bit of consistent damage and put it into Primal Elementalist. Because if you think about it, your fire isn't going to be 100% of your damage, so it's not going to be 5% of your overall damage from taking this talent. It's going to be even less than that. So it's just not even worth it. So I would put it into here. You can get some really nice meteor hits, especially if you have your modifiers up, and you can just completely nuke someone. I mean, I've hit meteor for like 100k before. You know, 100k damage in your burst window. That could be the difference between a win and a loss. And the other reason I chose some more Echo Chamber here was because having that extra bit of damage on your overloads just adds on to the burst window, and since I had to sacrifice out Electrified Shocks, I wanted something to kind of compensate for that. Now, one thing I am kind of sad about this build versus the Icefury variant of this build is you could see in the Icefury variant, I have a point over here, because this only takes 2, but these 2 take 3. So I put that third one over here, and this is very nice, because trying to build up to your ELE Blast can be a pain if you can't cast it all. Because, like, I mean, you're going to be casting Flame Shocks, but trying to cast, like, Lava Burst and Lightning Bolt, maybe even Icefury, could be a pain. And so if you could at least get some passive Maelstrom generating from this, and you also have passive Maelstrom from Surging Shields, it'll just make building up to your burst a lot quicker. So that way, especially if you're playing with someone that has burst rotations that come off cooldown very rapidly, this just makes that even easier, because now you can coordinate your kill windows a lot closer together. But we did spec out of a little bit of healing here in order to get like this extra point and like the full power of the Maelstrom procs, because these play a huge part into your kill window. This is actually the biggest RNG part of your kill window, honestly. I mean, obviously you have your crit chance, but like outside of your crit chance, this is what you really need to proc. If this doesn't proc before your burst and you just get really shitty RNG, this could like completely ruin your kill window. But I mean, I put 2 points in it, but we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, I still feel like it's bugged though. I think Blizzard needs to take a look at it and see if it's proccing as much as they should, but I don't think it has been. I don't think it's a 25% chance. But maybe you guys can let me know down below if you think it's bugged too. I just haven't seen it really proccing very often, so I'm wondering if I should even take it at least until hopefully they fix it. Maybe I should put at least like 1 point somewhere else, and maybe it would still be the same proc chance. Maybe that's what the bug is. I don't know. So maybe I could take a point out of here and put it up here. I'm also thinking about, like, again, the mana spring. I'm concerned about not having Gust of Wind, but I would have to get 2 points over here. Enfeeblement would be nice to have. Cleanse Spirit is something we're gonna have to be thinking about for like shamans and especially warlocks now. Warlocks are getting some really weird fucking abilities. It's like this PvP talent that sounds like a Mythic plus Affix, where it rips the souls out of everyone in AoE, and you have to go collect your soul to get your damage and your healing back. And it's like, dude, like if I wanted to do that shit, I'd just go do a dungeon. I don't know. That sounds even more unfun to play than Seasons of Winds. Season Winds, whatever. Also, another note, Electrified Shocks recently got buffed, so it used to be 6 seconds, now it's 9 seconds. That's a quality of life change that definitely benefits this build for sure. And again, I want to know your guys' opinions on this. What do you think? Would you rather have 2 Stormkeeper charges, or would you rather have Lightning Rod? I feel like Lightning Rod is just really good for that Stormkeeper burst, especially when I saw that 273k Lightning Bolt. That just fucking blew me away. I was like, holy shit. You know, Lightning Rod made that happen, 20%. But I can't help but think if maybe another Stormkeeper charge, like, that would add a lot of overall burst, but it would definitely ruin the... I don't want to say ruin, but it would definitely make the kill window burst a lot shorter. Maybe like when we get our tier set, we could like, or maybe before we get our tier set, we could take the second charge, and then after we get it, we could opt out. I don't know. Again, I want to hear your guys' opinions. Also, what do you guys think about maybe taking Skybreaker's Fiery Demise? Are you guys still seeing a lot of flame shock damage even with this type of build, without a lot of this fire damage and stuff? Maybe you'd want to go back into Improved Flame Tongue, and instead of Primal Elementalist, take Skybreakers for more consistent damage. We could maybe do a 5th build for something like that. So like, you got a lot of nice burst, but you also have a lot of nice consistent damage. Let me know what you guys think. But I really like the Volcanic Surge only being used for the high burst. And then I have obviously the Stormkeeper and the Icefury builds for the consistent damage. So I think that wraps up the video, guys. Those are my 4 solid builds for Season 2. I have a couple more videos planned. I'm sorry it took me so long to do another video, but it was the end of Season 1. There wasn't really much content. I didn't want to just bloat my channel with a bunch of useless nonsense. Oh, like, oh, here's my 3 best builds for Elemental Shaman 1 week before Season 2 comes out. So that's why I've just been kind of MIA. I I had some other stuff I was dealing with too, but mostly just didn't want to make any more content for the end of the season. So I plan on doing a lot more videos again. It probably won't be as much as it was last season, but I still want to do a lot of videos. So let me know what you guys think about these 4 builds, any of those things that we talked about, and let me know if you guys came up with any new builds or have any other ideas or suggestions on where we should put some points. If things you notice haven't been working, always let me know that, because I want to report them. I want to get shit fixed. There's nothing more I hate when an ability just doesn't even work. You know, maybe it's a bad ability, but if it just doesn't work the way it's intended to, that makes it even worse. So alright guys, I'll see you in the next video, and until then, good luck on the grind, and maybe I'll see you guys in some games.